last week, we were identifying proportional and non-proportional relationships, and we have been identifying them from tables. And this week, we will be working with identifying them from graphs. Our opening exercise here gives us a table, one that we're very familiar with seeing. It tells us that Isaiah sold candy bars to help raise money for his scouting troop. The table shows the amount of candy he sold compared to the amount of money received. So our X column is the candy bars sold. Our Y column is the money that he received. In each case, they give us the entries of how many candy bars he sold as to how much money he received. The question asked, is the amount of candy bars sold proportional to the amount of money Isaiah received? Just like last week, we know that we can find out if this is proportional by creating fractions of each of our entries and seeing if they reduce to the same fraction, by taking our entries and cross multiplying to see if we get the same product, or our third way is by finding our unit rate to determine if there is a constant unit rate. And we find our unit rate, which we call K, by dividing our Y entry by our X entry. So let's look at that. We'll make a new column here called K, and we will determine what is our unit rate for each of these entries. For our first one, our Y value is 3 divided by our X value of 2, we get a unit rate of 1.5. For our second entry, our Y value of 5 divided by our X value of 4, we get a unit rate of 1.25. For our third one, our Y value of 9 divided by our X value of 8, we get a unit rate of 1.125. And for our last one, our Y value of 12 divided by our X value of 12, we get a unit rate of 1.0. Now, as we look at each of these, we see that all four of them are different. Therefore, there is not a constant unit rate because they are all different. So our answer here on this question is no, they are not proportional because they do not have a constant unit rate. The unit rate for each of our entries was different, so there was no constant unit rate. Now, following on down, they're asking us to use what we know to create a table and turn that into a graph. Very similar to what we were just looking at. They want us to use our information here to create a table that does show that the money received is proportional to the number of candy bars sold. So let's start that first by looking at what we have here. He sold 2 candy bars, he received $3. If we multiply this times 2 and say that he sold 4 candy bars, we would do the same over here. Multiply 3 times 2, he should receive $6. If we multiply our 2 times 3, and he sold 6 candy bars, we would multiply our 3 times 3, he should receive $9. If we multiply our 2 times 4, and he sold 8 candy bars, we would do the same to our 3, multiply it times 4, he should receive $12. Now, we have our X in our first column, we have our Y in our second column, and we know that we can create a coordinate pair for each of these entries. Our first coordinate pair, our X value is 2, our Y value is 3. For our second one, 4, 6, the third 6, 9, and our last one, 8, 12. Now with these coordinates, we can plot these on our graph here. So for our first one, our X value is 2. We come across our X axis to 2, and then our Y is 3. So we come up to our 3, and that is where we place our dot at that intersection. For our next one, we come across our X value is 4, our Y value is 6. For the third, our X is 6, our Y is 9. And for our last one, we have 8 and 12.